I'm Dylan. I'm a junior here. I'm studying science pre-professional in English, and I'm from Houston, Texas. I have a professor right now, Professor Wingert, Dr. Wingert, for my physiology class, and it's not the easiest class. It's something that is a pre-med you have to take, and it can be difficult. There's a bunch of terminology, but as a professor, she's really helped in promoting my well-being and emphasizing learning, not just a grade. Before the semester even started last year, she had us all come in for office hours just to introduce ourselves, say hello, and what we're interested in. And so it wasn't some stressful meeting like, why do you think you should be a doctor, or something like that. It was really just getting to know who's going to be teaching us and also showing that she cares about what we're interested in. I want to say there's like 80 kids or something like that. So it's a pretty large classroom, and she gets to know all of us by name. Before the semester even starts, she tries to do that. And that is not typical, and it really stands out. And it really does like make you feel wanted and important. I think in general, no matter where you are, it's important to build relationships, but especially at college, it can be really daunting because your faculty are geniuses in like so many respects. And I know as a freshman, it was like pretty terrifying to try to like bridge that gap. Like how do I belong here? But when a professor meets you in the middle and helps you with your learning, accompanies you along the process, it's empowering. I came to her one time. I was in a really rough state, and I wasn't expecting to come in this like agitated. But I came in. I was going through something personal. And I just came in and talked, and she listened and made me feel okay. Like, of course, the situation didn't get immediately better, but she was there to listen. And so just thank her for that, and then the class as a whole and my learning as a whole, just how grateful I am, because I really am loving learning right now. And I'll go home, I'll talk about the hard, like give hard facts, like when you're making learning fun, you don't worry about the exams or the grades and things like that. So I think just instilling that curiosity and encouraging us to like want to be the best student we can.
I came to Notre Dame in 2010 to start my research lab, and since that time I've been teaching classes in stem cell biology and vertebrate physiology. I also teach some graduate courses in topics related to development and regeneration, so sort of on the thematic range of spectrum of stem cell to physio. Well, I think their well-being is tied to their success in the class. I think if they are in an environment where they feel like they are supported in as many ways as possible, and that we're sort of in it together. We're there with a common goal of having them gain expertise and really master a topic in a semester. I think making sure that that they're well taken care of as they're on that journey. These are hard classes, and they're not they're things that the students can certainly do on their own. It's not that it's not insurmountable, but I think it engenders success when their well-being is taken care of.
I mean, the thing I feel about learning is that it was a huge gift to get to go to college. I was in the first generation in my family to get to go, and it's such a priceless opportunity and gift to have that opportunity, and I valued it so much when I could go to classes and learn things. And I just for me, it's very important to give that back and to help others on their road, because it is really difficult, and I think you can get lost in the mix and not know how to do certain things. And so for me, the gift of an education, having the opportunity to do that, meant so much. And it's just, no one can ever take that away from you. Once you have your learning, it's in your back pocket the rest of your life. You always have that, and the power of what you can do with that is just immense. And so if you can give folks that little bit of power, like you pass on this ability to spread more goodness and spread more help to others. And the thing I would tell my students is that I just love being there. I love being, as helpful as I can as they're on that road, because it does mean so much, and it's part of how I can repay the opportunities I got to have. I mean, sometimes you have to scrape and scramble to get them, certainly, but being a little like stepping stone along their journey that can support them a little bit, that's very rewarding. And I just love, I love learning, and I love my students, and I want to help them have that love of learning and enjoy it, and not worry about a mark, as Dylan was talking about, so much as, we want to accomplish, we want to achieve, but there's a lot more to life, and enjoying that learning and the discovery of all these cool things out there, whether it's science or something else. I think if you can't enjoy that, it's you're missing something that's really special. So the first time I taught physiology, I had, as Dylan said, 80-90 students in the classroom, and as I worked with everyone, I just wanted to make it personal. I thought this would be so, the best I can do here is to make this not like you're just a body in a room, who has to take an exam, has to have a mark, etc., but to really make it so that people can have a more intimate experience. Because I went to a small liberal arts school where our entry classes were big, our intro bio and such were large, 75, 80 people in the class. But as we went on, they were 15, 20, and that made a difference. And I just wanted everyone to have that experience, that they knew their faculty, like they could come talk to them. They weren't just a face in the room. And so as I got to know that first class, I thought, how could I do it better the next time? And so I was so excited when registration happened and I saw people, enrolling in the class, and it had taken off. So the first time I offered it, people don't know your name and who you are, and there's trepidation about, signing up and what are they going to get, right? So I was I didn't have a full class my first year, and as the second, wave of registration happened, but for the next iteration, the class filled, and I was very excited because I felt like that was feedback that the class had been going well. And then I was just like, how do I get like a head start on this? Because I do want to know everybody, but now how do I go from an 80-person class to a 140-some person class? And I was like, I gotta get ahead of this. I want to meet people now, and if I can meet some people now, then that can already like start building that personal relationship. So I tried it out, and it was, I didn't have a lot of takers. I mean, I had maybe 20 or 30 students, but I didn't have a huge percentage come. But with Dylan's group, that was the second round of doing it, and I had easily 70% or more of the class take me up on it, because I think that kind of, my hope is that culture and that knowledge that, hey, this person is genuine when they send this out, and this is part of what this class is about, and that's the culture of that, that person and how they're approaching teaching this subject. I think that spread a little bit, and it's just wonderful because I can get a head start on names, and so then I can make the classroom as intimate as possible. Knowing a couple names when I'm trying to ask for participants and such, it's just, I don't know, it just breaks the ice in a way that is a human interaction that it should be. Yeah. I mean, I do try to treat everyone in my class, like I approach them all as people that, like, how would I treat someone who was in my family, who I did, have a long-standing, deep, family connection with, and how would I take care of them? I just take care of them with that degree of love and respect. And so for me, it's about having love and respect for the students and teaching them in a way that shows that you love the material and you love and are invested in their learning of that material. Yeah, because it's part of the message that you're sending out there of, trying to indicate that you're approachable and share your experiences, and that you're being invested in your students and their success in a class. Yeah. Okay, so the other thing that I think is super important in a classroom setting is to have flexibility. And so, a semester's only so long. We do need to keep on track. We need to have a schedule. A syllabus is important. But in my experience, whether a homework is handed in on a Thursday or a Friday, at the end of the day, as long as we're keeping up, that I've achieved the goal. So I also implemented strategies where
we'd have this homework set is due on this day, but everybody has until this other day to turn it in. So they have a window of time. Like, I want you to keep on track, try to hit the first deadline, but there's no change in points, there's no change in anything, just here's a window of time. And that way, if you're juggling a bunch of things, it's perfectly okay to put off doing the physio assignment. You can hand it in the next day or then, Monday or whatever. And they're still on track for the exam. They're still keeping up, but it's a window of time. And some of my students have found that confusing. It's like, what does this mean? I don't get it. But as we do it, and they're like, oh, okay, I get it. Like, we want to keep up, but we can do it in a way that engenders just a little bit of wiggle room, just a little give, not a ton, but just enough so that the student, with all the things that are so important to them, can make decisions about their responsibilities and things which are very important to them. They might have, a best friend's birthday. They might have some volunteering event. Those things are deeply important to them. They should be able to do it and not have to cut that out just to make an assignment that I won't have graded until the next day anyway, right? Like, so setting up a way where, I guess that's where Dylan is articulating, how do we meet in the middle, right? How can we both achieve what I think is an important goal, but work with each other in a way that's productive. And so that's also been very important to me, is having flexibility, and also having a way to account for exam conflicts. So this is very stressful, I think, for all students, and they have exams back to back or a pile of exams in a certain period of time. And so I adopted the rules that we would have for final exams, where I won't, I'll reschedule exams when people have things, too many things clustered in a period of time, or if they're directly back to back, I just won't have them go through it. They certainly can, and they can get the grades and they can do just fine, but it's sort of the principle of not having them be required to do that. It's their choice. If they want to do that challenge, cool. If they want to take it the next day, that's fine too, right? So I've tried to engender flexibility in a couple ways. Again, to focus on the learning, and the objective is mastering this stuff so that they can ace the DAT or the MCAT, or be competitive for PA schools or whatnot. So it's getting the physio stuff down, for example. So I think that they would find that the whole experience of having a class is so enjoyable when your students are less stressed, when they come to the classroom and they're excited to be there, and it's like they're breathing a sigh of relief, like, oh, I'm here and now we're going to do this, and it's hard as heck, but we're going to do this now, and I'm glad to be here. I think having that environment just changes everything. It makes everyone I think learn so much better, and so for me that dynamic is very satisfying, and it's the place where I want to be too. And so I just think it's a happy place, and when you can have that environment, I just think it makes a world of difference.